They say that dogs are a man's best friend, and for the most part, that's absolutely true. They're smart, loyal, caring, and keep those pesky mailmen at bay. But they're not the only animals that have won over the hearts of their owners. In fact, the world is full of weird, wonderful, and delightfully unusual friendships between man and beast.
Oh my.
Ready to meet these unlikely pairings? Let's get it on. Kiara and Adolfo. After a ban on exotic circus animals was implemented in Mexico in 2014, a mysterious man known as Adolfo Caram began his lifelong crusade of rescuing and rehabilitating big cats. So committed to the cause, Adolfo opened his very own wildlife sanctuary to house and care for the rescued animals. One such animal was Kiara, who was named after the lioness in The Lion King, and was just a small cub when she was rescued. Adolfo raised Kiara like she was his own daughter before sadly parting ways when she went to a larger facility to grow up. Years would pass, and it seems that despite the pair being separated for so long, Kiara would never forget the kindness Adolfo showed her as a cub. On his return, sanctuary officials were concerned she might treat her foster dad like any other meat tossed into the enclosure. But as Kiara saw her human dad, she ran over and crash-talked her human with slobbery kisses and big pawed cuddles. It just goes to show that the bond between lion and man is strong, and that once a member of the pride, always a member of the pride. Pet Caiman. Never smile at a crocodile. In what is perhaps the most out there case of buyer's remorse, Japanese native Nobumitsu Murabayashi bought a cute baby caiman in a street market 34 years ago. The only thing is, he never anticipated that it would grow to almost 7 feet in length and over 100 pounds in weight. At full size, Nobumitsu actually had to get permission from the local government to keep the pet that he admits he loves more than his wife. When it came to naming the giant beast, he went for the obvious and least imaginable choice: Caiman. Nobumitsu loves nothing more than to brush his bizarre pet's teeth and take him for long walks along the streets of Kure City. On a leash, of course, because he's responsible like that. This gentle giant may look scary, but Caiman is actually just like a dog, only much bigger and with a whole lot more teeth. Sambeth's python. Ask any scientist and they'll tell you that reptiles lack the brain size and emotion to recognize a bond with their human owners. Well, tell that to 12-year-old Cambodian Sambeth. For the past 11 years, he's had no need for a dog or a cat to keep him company. His best friend is a 16-foot-long python named Chamroon. When Sambeth's mother was pregnant, she had a dream that a snake would protect her unborn child. Lo and behold, she found Chamroon coiled up in a tiny pile the size of a thumb under her newborn son's bed. She tried to release it in the bushes alongside a nearby river, but 2 weeks later, the snake came back to the same spot. She took it as a sign that the slithering serpent was a magical spirit and decided it could stay. Now Sambeth sleeps nestled in the 12-inch thick coils of his python pal after kissing Chamroon goodnight, of course. Brutus the bear. When you think of the largest land carnivore on Earth, what comes to mind? Brutality, savagery, and you running for your life. What doesn't immediately spring to mind is bear bromance. Casey Anderson rescued Brutus the bear from an overcrowded wildlife park when he was just 5 months old. They were going to euthanize the poor cub as they didn't have the room for another huge grizzly, but a sad story has turned into a lifelong friendship, as the pair have been inseparable ever since. Usually when you get married, you ask your brother, cousin, or best buddy to be your best man, but not Casey. The Montana Grizzly Encounter Sanctuary resident was on his best behavior and gave his blessing for his favorite human to tie the knot with his special lady. Despite their bond, Casey still treats Brutus with the respect a one-ton grizzly bear deserves. After all, sometimes Brutus doesn't know his own strength. Moyo the elephant. An elephant never forgets how much she loves her humans. After finding Moyo the African elephant abandoned by her herd, half-drowned and surrounded by a pack of hungry hyenas, wildlife ranger Roxy Dankworts took her back to the Wild as Life Sanctuary and became her new foster mother. Moyo loves her mom, following her around like a bad smell. Well, everywhere that she fits into anyways. Now 14 months old, she's getting a little too big for the house and takes up most of the room on the couch. Just like a teething puppy might chew a shoe or a TV remote control, nothing is safe from Moyo's inquisitive trunk. Coffee cups, napkins, and even food in the kitchen is all fair game. Roxy secretly wishes that Moyo was toilet trained, as there are frequent accidents. Ag the polar bear. Okay, so polar bears are no joke. They're solitary hunters and masters of the frozen tundra and ice floes of the far north. You'd have to be insane to get up close and personal with one. Mark Dumas is one such insane person. He runs beyond just bears in Canada and is the only person in the world to have smooched a polar bear and survived to tell the tale. Mark found AG when she was just 8 weeks old, raising her like his own child. Sure, she gave him a few nibbles as a cub, but then again, so does a puppy. Now the two are inseparable and love nothing better than to take a swim together in the pool or go star in film and TV series together. It gives a whole new meaning to the phrase bear hug. Jessica the hippo. The humble hippo is responsible for more people meeting a watery doom in Africa than the 20-foot crocodiles that also call the rivers home. They're not all bad. Just ask Tony and Shirley Joubert, who absolutely adore their pet Jessica. The pair took her into their care after finding her in distress next to her dying mother on the border of the Kruger Game Park. They're actually park rangers, and after nursing her back to health and releasing her back into the wild, they were surprised to find that she kept trying to make her way back home. So they gave in, and now the half-ton hippo sleeps in the family home and is a local celebrity, having starred in over 90 films and documentaries. Hiroyuki Arakawa and Yoriko. Some bonds between man and beast transcend that of a mere family pet. We've all had some pretty questionable-looking significant others in the past, but nothing tops 79-year-old Japanese diver Hiroyuki Arakawa and his lifelong companion Yoriko, the giant sheep-sheed wrassie. One afternoon way back in 1992, he came across this giant fish while diving in the submerged Shinto shrine in Tateyama Bay. It was love at first sight. Yoriko was injured, extremely malnourished, and starving to death as a result of her wounds. Hiroyuki returned every day with 5 crabs to make sure she recovered, a gesture for which she is eternally grateful. He still goes back as often as he can, and for almost 30 years, Yoriko recognizes her nautical sweetheart, rushing up to meet him and presenting her bulbous forehead for a kiss. Their relationship is a rarity in the world of fish, and although there's evidence that certain long-lived species have a better than goldfish memory, scientists are still baffled by Hiroyuki and Yoriko's love affair. Here's to another 30 years of marital bliss. Maria the goose. Hallmark could make a movie about this one. A man and his goose, an unlikely friendship. Retired salesman Dominic Erler loves nothing better than to spend his now abundant free time down at his local pond at Echo Park. It was there that he met his soulmate, a gray Toulouse goose he affectionately named Maria. As he was walking around the lake one day, Maria decided to follow him. At first he was unsure why, as he made it a point of not feeding the local fauna, but this was a case of love at first sight, and day after day Maria waits for Dominic to take his morning stroll and accompanies him like a smitten lover. When it's time to go home, she flies behind Dominic as he rides his scooter, so now he has to tuck Maria in and make sure she's asleep before leaving the park each day, for her own safety. Fagin the crow. You may not know this, but crows are insanely intelligent. They're one of the few non-primate animals with facial recognition and are able to differentiate and remember human faces. Avid wildlife lover Vicky Kenward noticed Fagin the baby crow who had fallen out of his nest and become injured. She was unable to return him to his parents, so she took him home to care for his injuries, fully intending to release Fagin back into the wild once he grew older. Well, it seemed like he had other ideas. He fell in love with his human nursemaid, and instead of venturing forth back into the world to seek out his own decided that a steady diet of mealworms and crickets was too good to pass up. He's become part of the family and rarely leaves Vicky's side. He's free to come and go as he pleases, and after a day spent exploring the English countryside, returns home. Fagin doesn't realize he's a crow, and we're not certain if Vicky walks the family dog or Fagin does.